Hey everyone, happy hump day, happy therapy day, and thank you for joining me today. If you're new to the channel, I wanted to let you know that we built an awesome community here, and you're going to see people from all over the world, which is completely awesome. We have super cool people to join us every week. We do this Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We get into some hardcore conversation. YouTube has rules, so we can't say everything we feel. We try to navigate through that. We have two great mods. We have Lisa and we have Anne, and I'll link them here, who make sure that we don't get a little too carried away. That being said, you're more than welcome to have your opinion here. We actually encourage it. We also want you to know that the more people, the better. So tell your friends and everybody that we're really creating a space here to have conversation. So with that, the other thing I want to let you know is that I do shout outs to everybody. Just tell me where you're from, and then I'm going to do a shout out, and then I want to get into a really great conversation today because I actually have a really awesome guest coming on halfway through the show. So that being said, I'm going to scroll back up and see who I see first, and if I miss you, please say it back, where you're from, and then I'm going to shout you out. Okay, so we got Houston is the first one in the house, and and also let's send a lot of love to Texas. The floods are insane. Just reminds me of Hurricane Katrina. So I'm sending you a ton of love. And so Fort Worth, Texas is in the house, Washington State, Georgia, Netherlands, Scotland, Massachusetts, Houston, Seattle, Belgium, Sweden, Kentucky's in the house, Winnipeg, where my dad's from, is in the house. Cotswold, is that an actual place? Michigan is in the house. Right on. We got Florida, we got Israel and Berlin in the house, we got the UK, we got California, Florida, Germany, Sweden, Illinois, England. I told you guys, we got England, we got North Carolina mountains in the house, we got Wisconsin in the house, Poland's in the house, SoCal accounting department. You guys catch me off guard. UK, London, UK, Indiana, Myrtle Beach, right on, Louisiana, where I lived for a while, Bedford, Texas, sending love to Texas, everybody. Texas, Wales, Colorado, England, baby. Burbank, Ontario, Shalom, and we got Israel in the house. We got Wisconsin, San Diego, Florida, Massachusetts, Scotland, London, I'm doing good, thank you. Norway, Georgetown, Ohio. We got West Virginia, where my mom's from. We got more Israel in the house. We got New Hill, North Carolina, Boston, Burbank, London, East England, West Virginia, El Paso, Texas, Ontario, Canada, Missouri, was oh my gosh, you guys, Washington, Gibraltar, UK. Yeah, let's go. Finland, Morgan, Global. We got Global in the house for sure. Florida, Quebec. I really appreciate you all so much. Port Orchard, Washington, Rule, Virginia, Rule. I can never say that word, Rule. London, England. We got the two mods, Ann Archer and Lisa Fontaine in the house. We got Oregon, Morgan Hill, California, Missouri, New England, Virginia. I told you all, if you're new here, I'm serious. Minneapolis. We got everyone. It's crazy. We got Spain in the house. We got Buck Island in the house. And we got South London, Shalom back, my friend. Oklahoma's in the house. And England in the house. It's not me, you guys. I keep up the good work. Thank you that. But it's all us. You know, I value. I tell you that every week. We got the Bay Area in the house, which we should have a full conversation about the Bay Area. I just tell you that this is not my channel. This is not it. This is ours, and this is our time. And really, as you know, I very much value this time. I actually look forward. It's like, to me, it's like literally going to some therapy, which I always look forward to therapy. But at the same time, you know, we got Prague in the house. It's really us. We've come together here, and I can feel it. And I don't ever feel that, you know, I don't feel like it's mine. I do feel like it's ours. And you know, sharing is an important aspect, I think, of not only keeping yourself grounded, not getting into a narcissistic space. I never want to be. Australia's in the house. I never want to be that sort of I've seen too many narcissists. I've been married to two of them, and they're crazy. And so I think you all keep me so grounded, and you keep me all sort of understanding how sharing space, I hate that term, sharing space, but you understand what I mean. Sharing spaces with people to give different opinions has been lost. It's been lost, and it's very sad. And by sort of silencing people. This platform does it too. You all know that I get silenced here. Speaking of my last video that I just released, is also in that space with YouTube. But I don't want to dog out YouTube because, I do value my space here and I don't want to become that person. I'm a small YouTuber. I'm not a million follower YouTube, but I am building my platform here. And today we reached 180,000 subscribers. Whoa. I actually, when I checked on this morning, I was like, what? I had 180? That's actually crazy. I can't even believe it. So literally, without you guys helping subscribe to this channel and doing all the likes, I just see my channel. We're going to hit 200,000 fast. I can already just see it growing. So to hit 180,000 subscribers is not a small feat. And it takes, a lot of people to do it. And it takes people like you to be able to help me build a space where I can continue to have these conversations with you. And it really means, it does. I think that you know that in my heart, it really does. I don't take this lightly and I don't take this space lightly. And I think the majority of us here really want to help young people. And that's really been such an important part of building this platform. Is I saw so many young trans, non-binary, it just went off the deep end. Yay, Palm Springs is in the house where my parents are. So it's hot in Palm Springs right now. I think it's like 120 or something. I have to keep checking in on my parents because like they're elderly, but they have air conditioning and stuff. But it's still 120. The air conditioning is like it's really having a hard time. So if you haven't any elderly friends or people or parents that you know of, check in on them seriously, because we can't forget about that. Me being an elderly person myself. So before I move forward, I also want to say, I want to read this. So my last video that I just put up, YouTube didn't like. I had to silence some of the language in it. It's about the P people. It's called LGBT plus P. And if you haven't seen it, you should really watch it. Not because of me, but because of the subject matter. And I think the subject matter is something that is very important, and we are not allowed to talk about it. And, we're not even allowed to say the word. We have to say the P people. And so really, it's just shocking that these two men in the UK, sorry to all my UK fans out there, but somebody said something on, I read the comments, so I just want to let you know, thank you all always for commenting on my stuff, because I do read as much as I can, and there's just a lot of really great stuff there. But somebody had said that, thank you, Buck, for doing, oh, thanks for being a new member. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's how you guys keep my channel going. Thank you guys so much. It really means a lot. So, when I get sort of slapped by YouTube, this stuff really helps me, but I'm not taking it down. You know that about me. So I'll just keep it there. It's fine. It's not all about the money. I think you all know that. It's not, money helps. It's my business, all of that. But money is not going to make me lose my integrity. I refuse to be one of those people. So other things come. You all send me gifts and you send me things, and I just see like how when we keep our integrity here and we keep our focus, nobody can knock you off that, because we have a bigger goal than that. So exposing these creepy freaks, and so it's called, if you can watch it, I'd appreciate it. And if you can like it, only if you like it, that would be great. But it's called LGBTQ plus the P people. And so the P people are creepy weirdos, and they've always tried to get into our community, and we have always said no. But in the last 10 years, they creeped into our community like Lily Tino and Jeffrey, in my opinion, Lily Tino, Jeffrey Marsh, Dylan Mulvaney. I just think the guy's like weird. JVN, they're all so much about the kids and transing the kids. It's the creepiest thing ever. But these weirdos literally came into our community and latched on and then started calling it maps, okay? Which is just so sick. Because when you start to change, right? When you start to change the definition of something creepy like that, then we all need to be aware of that. When you change the definition of Creepville, we should all be aware of that. So if you don't know that the P crowd is disturbing, we have to, thank you. So if you all don't know, how many of you in this room, before I read this thing right here, know what MAPS is? How many of you know what what the definition of maps is. Not maps that you read, but it's now a new word called maps. And I don't even know if I can even talk about it on here, but I'm going to because I don't care. Yeah. So if you don't know what maps is, sadly, unfortunately, right on. Unfortunately, we all do. Every single one of you. So here's the definition from Lizzie Girl. So you all can read that right there. Yeah, they changed in the definition of the P people to that. It was even Joe Rogan even did a whole thing on it. Like, what? Joe has kids too. So, like, gross. Not even if you don't have kids, it's gross and it's wrong. So, my last video was all about that, and YouTube didn't like it, and I had to cut out some of the words, and you're not even allowed to say words. Yeah, it's just NAMLO with extra steps. I mean, I'm laughing so I don't get so pissed about it. I'm so mad about it. Literally, Blue. It's totally that. it's it is it's actually that right there. So, oh my God, you guys, Saturday Night Live on drugs, right? So, this, I saw this great comment and I wanted to read it to you all because I thought it was a great comment. So, I'm still haven't had my eye surgery, so I'm going to read from here. The phrase I learned from you is good men stay out from women's spaces, so bad men stand out. Remember, I had that in one of my videos. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you, friend. Thank you, friend. So, remember, I think it was on 2 or 3 videos before I found a woman. She's a psychologist or something, and she wrote this amazing thing. So she said, "Good men stay out of women's spaces, so bad men stand out." It is such a strong statement. Hey, man, I remember when the trans flag was actually the MAPS flag in like 2004 in small. Wow, I didn't even know that. That is actually creepy. Holy moly. The flag thing is so gross. So I go further. Good adults stay away from participating in child activities, dress, toys, etc. So bad adults stand out. Great statement. A good society has adults who take protecting children more seriously than their own pleasure. I go nuts when adult stuff is blurred with children stuff. Me too. Totally on board with you. Children will believe anything, and all the parents in this room, okay, all the parents in this room, you know exactly that statement. Children will believe anything. There was a study where children repeatedly were told a false story about going to the hospital. After a while, they started to believe the story, and years later still believed it happened. Children cannot give consent. Such a great comment. Says so much about what's going on today. Okay, that story I did is this right here. Okay, it's actually that. So these two guys worked at the Pride. The one guy started the Pride, Surrey, UK, started the Pride thing, and just was a P person and lured. Okay, I know it's gonna make me so mad to talk about it, but I'm going to because I have a 12-year-old. Okay, he'll be 13 soon, but I have a 12-year-old, and he lured a 12-year-old from. Do you all know the dating app called Grindr? It's a dating app. Okay. How is a 12-year-old on a dating app? How? Called Grindr? How? I know, just breathe. Thank you. Thank you, Julie. Okay, my pressure points. I think are these the pressure points? How is a 12-year-old on Grindr? Okay. So these two dudes, one is 41, Stephen Ireland, and the other one is, I think, David something, and that's his 27-year-old boyfriend, and he's 41. They're adults, whatever, big age difference. So they lure a kid from the app called Grindr. Shame on Grindr, by the way. Is it easy to do, Michael? Is it actually? Is it really actually easy to do for a 12-year-old to I don't believe that because I am constantly watching my kid and I know exactly what's going on his phone and where he is and what he's doing. So I don't understand that a parent could let their child on Grinder. I actually don't understand that. As someone who's also worked in the adult space, I do not understand it, okay? Shame on the parents. So this 12-year-old is on Grinder, gets lured by these two weirdos into the house. They start smoking. A 12-year-old. All I can think of is my kid. A 12-year-old. They start smoking a bong, but in the bong there is drugs called methamphetamines. Wow, you guys. Wow. Just wow. And then the kid comes clean and says, I'm not really 17, like I said. He was lying and said he was 17. I'm really 12. And do you know what the P person said? Yeah, towel pots. Yeah. Do you know what he said? He said, well, let's just keep that between us. Let's just keep that between us. And people were bringing it to the attention of the Pride Surrey. There's an organization called, I think, Women of Scotland or Women of Surrey, something like that. They were all over this, watching it, and they kept reporting this guy, and nobody would listen because it's the Pride, trans, LGBT space. And now you can't say anything because you're either transphobic or you're homophobe, more transphobic, right? They use all of this language to say that you're a bigot and you can't say that about somebody. And that's how the dude got away with it. Because now if you report somebody who's in the LGBTQIA pee poo poo community, you're a bigot, okay? And then you can't do that. So that's how they kept getting away with it. It's actually insane to me. I just can't even believe it. So that is the story that I just released. And if you have a chance to go watch it, I'd appreciate it very much and pass it around because, we're not allowed to have these conversations. And that's why today I really wanted to call today's show The Uncomfortable Truths because I don't understand how this is considered an uncomfortable conversation. I'm not uncomfortable talking about it in any way, shape, or form. On some level, I'm empowered to talk about it because I refuse to be associated with a community that hides these people, wants to change the name of these people, considers these people to be a part of this community. Okay. And there are more and more of these people coming out every single day under the guise of LGBTQIA. It's unbelievable to me. So I won't have anything to do with that. So that is why it is important that you and I have these conversations so that you can see the difference of people who are responsible adults, who as adults chose to transition, who as adults choose not to ever be around children. Children should not be at Pride. Children should not be taught LGBTQIA stuff. Children should have nothing to do with any of that. Do you know that LGBT is an adult space? It's an act. Thank you, friend. Thank you. Thank you. It's an adult space. It is not for children. Children should not learn about it. Children should know there are different people in the world, and when you get older, you'll know about that, right? Children shouldn't learn about sexual things except basic sex. Maybe when they get to be like my kiddo's age, like 12, going on 13, you've got to teach sex ed. So you've got to teach about pregnancy, and you got to teach about bodily functions, and you got to teach about puberty and the changes to your body. Because if you don't, the kid's going to be like, right? But you don't need to be teaching about bondage and discipline at 13 years old. That's how I knew something weird was going on, because why are they teaching that to kids? They should never be talking to kids about stuff like that. And I'm part of this so-called community. So to call these people out is not an uncomfortable truth. Well, it's uncomfortable. It's not uncomfortable for me, but what it is an uncomfortable truth. And the truth of the matter is that these people exist not just in the LGBT community, you know that, they exist in all communities. But what I'm focused on is the LGBT community, because the LGBT community has been completely derailed by these creepy weird people, right? If it smells like a dog, it's true. If it smells like I mean really you guys, it is actually so insane. So before I bring my guest on, Lexi, she's super awesome, and I met Lexi at well, I think Lexi reached out to me on my email or my TikTok, and Lexi is a transsexual male to female, older. I don't know much about Lexi, so I think it's going to be a really great conversation. But Lexi, bottom line, is really like all of us here. Doesn't believe in children transitioning, adult space, has to understand what's going on. No child can make this choice. I don't care or anybody in this room, if you're a trans kid or you transition, that's totally your space. And I hope it's going well for you. But I will continue to tell you that no child can make this choice, okay? We should be helping children get out of dysphoria. They have it all backwards, right? Because before they would give you tons of therapy and help you grow out of it, okay? Because dysphoria you can grow out of dysphoria. You 100% can. But I didn't, and neither did Lexi clearly, and neither did other people in the community. But every single person I know who transitioned as an adult, okay, lived lives before that until they realized I no longer can live this way. It needs to be this really helped me become a better person. And I don't think there's anyone in this room that could discount that. And I don't think there's anybody in this room that would say, well, Buck, maybe you should have not done that, because I did it at the age of 30. I didn't do it at the age of 3. And I lived many lives, and I realized, and I was a drug addict, an alcoholic, homeless. I mean, every kind of thing you can name in the book, I did it until I got sober and transitioned. And literally my whole life I created a whole new world. I reconnected with my parents. I became sober. I started my own businesses. I became very powerful in my own life. And that all is due to sobriety plus transition. And no child can make that choice. I just will tell you, I don't care what you say to me, it's not possible. So with that, I want to bring this person on, and we'll have a good conversation. Here, hold on. Let me just fix this here, and let me add you here. Hey, Lexi.
Hey, Buck, how are you?
I'm good. It's so great to meet you, actually, because we haven't really met. We just met on email.
No, yes, email or TikTok.
Right on, right on. So I have a great group of people here. I want you to know people are super respectful, and we have moderators, so no one's going to be nasty or mean. And if they are, they can just fuck off and leave. I don't deal with that stuff. But one thing I want to say to you, Lexi, is that we have open conversation here. So
Sure.
I think you're cool with that. Watching,
I can handle open conversation.
I know that's why you're here. So let's get into you first. Let's have a little background about yourself.
Well, I'm 47 years old. I started my transition originally when I was 37.
Wow.
Yeah, I was pretty old, but I actually detransitioned in between that for 2.5 years until I got married to my wife, who actually asked me to transition only because she knew how damn miserable I was.
Yeah, sure.
And so I'm now 4.5 years into my transition and happier than ever.
So 37 you transitioned, and
Yes.
then how long into that transition did you detrans?
I was 18 months into my first transition.
Oh, wow. So like a year and a half or so.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't start again until I just turned 43.
what was the thing that you decided that you weren't going to continue your transition?
I couldn't afford it, actually.
Oh, it was money.
Yeah, it was money for me because, I heard you talking a few minutes ago about being homeless and whatnot.
Yeah.
When I started my first transition, I was with somebody, and she ended up leaving me like 6 months later. She was, we moved across country to transition. And she knew that I wanted this, and I had talked about it, and we moved across country to transition. But once I started transitioning, she couldn't handle the changes, things not working and whatnot. And so 6 months later, she left me. I ended up homeless for about a year.
So by yourself, you were home. So she left, and then you were by yourself.
I was
Like,
by myself. Yeah, she moved out of the apartment that we
oh,
were in because we couldn't afford it anyway. She was going to go back to Arizona, which was fine.
okay.
I was supposed to meet up with her a few months later, but of course, I got the runaround on that, and I couldn't
Wow.
afford the apartment anymore. So I moved into my car, and I was in my truck for a year.
Oh, so that's when you decided that you couldn't transition anymore, and you sort of pulled back on that.
I had to pull back. I couldn't afford it.
So at that point in your transition, were you on hormones or surgery, or
I
what was
was on
happening?
hormones. I was on a low dose estrogen. I think it was
Okay.
4 milligrams at that time,
Okay.
and I hadn't had any surgeries or anything at that point
Uh-huh,
yet.
uh-huh.
I had pretty much nothing, and I just, I was seeing a doctor. I'm a recovering addict like you, and so I've been clean 12 years, and I couldn't
Right
afford
on.
that doctor and my transition doctor at the same time. So I had to make a choice, which was more important to me, and my
Mm,
sobriety was more important to me. And so I took the sobriety route instead,
good choice.
and
I mean,
so I
honestly,
stopped.
yeah,
Yeah, best
honestly,
choice I made. I did not want to be an addict again.
yes, because you can't be in this space without understanding the pros and also when you're
No,
drunk, when you're high or drugged out or drunk, there is no way you're going to be able to make good choices at all.
no,
Thank you, Evan. Yeah, there's no way you can make good choices. So now you're 12 years sober.
I am 12 years sober. Yeah,
Congratulations, friend.
thank you.
That's a big deal. It's not, I mean,
It's
sobriety
not
is
easy.
that's a whole other animal.
It really
Transitioning.
is. It is. It's like, the crazy part is when I started doing drugs, I mean, I didn't start off doing drugs. Like I didn't jump
Sure.
into going, hey, I want to be a drug addict. It started, it wasn't my greatest life choice, but it started off from a stupid prescription, and
That,
like,
oh, wow. Thanks a
it
lot.
got out of control. And before
Yeah.
I knew it, I was popping 1,000 pills a month plus. And I woke up one morning 5 years later, and I used to just, how it is when you're on drugs. Right? You just get up, you
Yep.
just dump a bottle in your hand, you take whatever.
Totally.
Well, for whatever reason, that morning I turned the light on. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I had to get up for work. I turned the light on, and I looked at the palm of my hand, and it was covered in Percocet, just covered in it.
Oh,
And yeah, I was taking like 15 Percocet. They were 10 milligrams a piece, and just popping them like crazy. And I took that last dose at 9 a.m. I just kind of said, I'm not doing this to myself anymore. And at 9
wow.
a.m., I checked myself into rehab,
Good for you.
and I haven't looked back since.
The
But
universe. The
it's
universe.
crazy. But the problem with that came the rush of her. You know,
Oh,
the drugs
yeah.
really did well to hide her.
Yeah.
Like she went away for 5 years. She was gone. And I
That's
did
right.
everything that, like, anything
Yeah.
manly I could have done in that time. I joined a 1% motorcycle club. Like, I mean, yeah, oh yeah, I went berserko crazy. I was a mechanic, like just the biggest man's man. And yeah, after I got clean, I had to obviously let all that go. But once I got clean, I just couldn't hold it off anymore. I had it.
It's
And
so
I still waited
fascinating.
5 years before, well, 4 years before I transitioned.
Well, that was smart. That was actually me too. I did like 2 or 3 years in my sobriety until I started my transition. You have to. It's like cleaning out the cobwebs and the shit out of your brain. And you
I
you
had to
won't
make
be.
sure it wasn't a drug induced feeling, make sure that
That's right.
you know, and not only that, I started researching it, and I had seen a trans woman and her wife on TV.
Yeah.
And it was like watching myself on television. It was
Yeah.
it was mind blowing. It was a
Wow.
Dateline or something. It was mind blowing. And so I started doing research. And the crazy thing about that is I read all these horror stories about people losing their families and ending up
Yeah.
homeless, this, that, and the
Yeah.
other. And so when I started my transition, and my girlfriend at the time was on board, I'm like, this is good. I'm not going to end up one of those statistics. This is great. Six
Yeah.
months later, I was one of those fucking statistics.
Well, sobriety. It seems like you said your sobriety the first time you stayed sober. It took me 3 times to get sober, right? So my
I didn't want to go
transition.
through that withdrawal again.
Oh
Jesus.
my God, I know it's hard. I was homeless. I was same as you, my friend. I was homeless, and that I'm 63, so that was like 30 something years ago. And then just, yeah, I had the same thing with you. I look like, what? I can't do this anymore. It's this weird awakening but
It
it took me
was.
3 times to get sober.
I'll tell you, when I went through withdrawal that time, like, man, my body just betrayed me. I mean, it
Yeah,
started with a little tingly burning in the bottom of my feet and worked its way up from there.
yeah,
my body was just out of control. It was spazzing. It was doing this,
Yeah.
was doing that. I thought I was going to break my back from the spasms, and
Wow.
every orifice is leaking at the same time. It's like, this is not good. And I honestly, when I was in rehab, there were people in there with me, obviously, and some
Yeah.
of these people were in there 4 or 5 times. And once the withdrawal stuff was over, I looked at these people. How the fuck can you do it more than once? It is
I know, it's
brutal.
crazy.
How can you do that more than once?
You just have
Like,
to.
oh,
You
I
have
never
to.
would. I wouldn't wish that on you or anybody in your chat.
But you were on pill. You were doing pill. I was doing cocaine, and then cocaine went from meth, and meth went to crack, and because you can't afford it, so you're taking the cheapest shit you can. It wasn't even the alcohol. It was the crack that really, and then being on the
They'll mess you up.
streets. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then totally.
And when I went to rehab, the doctor looked at me and goes, what were you on? I'm like, well, I was on Percocets and Oxycontins.
Yeah,
And he looked at me and goes, how do you afford it?
yeah.
And he goes, I'm surprised you haven't turned to heroin. Well, being in a 1% motorcycle club, you tend to get a few hookups.
That's
And
right.
I actually knew a guy who was a pharmacist, and the pharmacist had dealt out, and I blackmailed that pharmacist for 3 years to give me whatever the fuck I wanted, or he was going to jail.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I was. It was. I'm not my proudest moment, Buck. I promise.
That's drug addiction. You don't need to.
Yeah,
No,
not my
that's
proudest
drug.
moment, and I've
It's okay.
apologized to him since then. But he's still working in pharmaceuticals in Arizona. But it's crazy that I got that desperate that I was blackmailing somebody to give me what I needed.
That's total drug addiction. Everyone in drugs does that. You lie, steal, and cheat, and do everything you can do to get the drugs. That's why.
Yep.
That's why honesty means so much to me in my sobriety, because I lied my way through. Oh, same nonsense. I'd call my parents at 2 and 3 in the morning for $100 so that I could pay my fake phone bill. I drove my parents insane. Can you imagine getting a phone call from your daughter at 2 in the morning? I need $100 for my phone bill. Like shit like
no,
that.
I get it. When I was in rehab, I had to tell the girl I was with because I had stashes everywhere in my house. I had them in between doorknobs. I had them in my toolbox. I had them under this, under that. I had a bag in the toilet. Like I kept them everywhere. When you're an addict, you make sure you have what you need. You don't run out.
Right.
And she had to go through and clean the house out. And make sure there was nothing there. I was in rehab for damn near a month.
That's a long time. That is a long time, but luckily you got to get into a rehab space. So as you get out of the rehab and your clarity starts to come back, then you start to realize I need to get back into transition.
Life. Yes.
Right. And then how did you start that?
Well, like I said, I started researching online.
Okay.
I started with Reddit, like most people probably start on Reddit. I mean, it's a good resource, whether it as toxic as it is, it's a good resource.
Sure.
And so I started on Reddit, and I didn't even know that transition was possible. Now I knew who you were. I knew who you were from in my 20s. I knew who you were, and well, I mean, you really made a name for yourself in that industry back then. So
yeah, I did.
You did, and everybody knew who Buck Angel was. Honestly, you were sexy as fuck, but but that being said, I would have never said that as a man, just so you know. But that being said,
right on.
But that being said, I did research, and I was still married, and I had my family, and in the middle of divorce, I was with this girl at the same time, and I didn't know how to tell her. You know what I mean, Buck? Like I didn't know how to tell her. It's like this man that you want who was, taking testosterone before they went in because drugs lower your fucking sperm count and your testosterone and all of that. So here I am, this big manly guy. I was 235 pounds, built like a brick shithouse. Wow. Yeah, I was built like a brick shithouse. Wow. And honey, I'm not a man. How do you tell that?
That's right.
It was an awkward conversation, but I told her I don't want to start right now. I need to understand. I need to make sure this is possible. Who do I see? What kind of doctor do I talk to? Do I need therapy? Yes, I needed therapy. But once I got through all of that, we made a decision, a few years later, and it's like, Arizona was not the place. I need to be away from all of that. All these people that knew me, that whatever, like I gotta go. And so I moved back to Massachusetts, where I come from anyway.
Okay.
And I knew that I could get what I needed there. And so
Yeah.
we moved. And then, like I said, things just fell. My life went to shit from there. And the next 3 years after that were just the worst 3 years of my life, even trying to transition, you
Because the
know?
girl, is that the one that left you? Did
Yeah.
she? Oh,
Well,
she
she left
left.
me and ended up homeless. And then I ended up grabbing on, like a year later, I ended up grabbing on to the first thing that gave me any sort of attention.
Sure.
And she was
Sure.
so abusive and
Oh
so
no.
brutal. And, part of the
Oh,
reason I detransitioned was because of her,
oh no.
not because she didn't want to be with me, but because oh, you'll never be a woman, this, that, whatever. And finally I said, well, you know what? Fuck this. I can't afford to do this anyway. You know what? I'm done. And so I was able to leave. I ended up in the street for a little while. I didn't care because
Yeah.
I'd already been homeless once. And I
Sure.
found a place to live, picked my life back up. And then a year and a half later, I met my wife.
Oh, so you're married now?
I am. I just celebrated 5 years of marriage in January.
Oh, that's so awesome!
Yeah.
Congratulations. So
It
obviously
came as a
she's
shock.
sorry.
Came as a shock to be married.
Yeah, but obviously she's very supportive of you.
She is. She's very, very supportive. She had actually, we talk about Lily Tino on TikTok, that.
Uh,
Not trans, but we talk about Lily Tino. And, my wife came across people like you and Gabby Tuft and things like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And, she was researching before she ever asked me. And the
Mm.
odd part about that is that 2 weeks prior to her asking me, I had actually tried to unalive myself.
Oh no.
And yeah, I couldn't, but look, I had lost everything once already,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
didn't want
I
to
know.
suffer a loss again. And we had been married. We went through COVID, together. We got married right
Yeah.
as COVID started,
Wow.
and we both got laid off at the same time. And because I wasn't working full time, it was hard to keep my brain
Yeah.
moving to say, Lexi, you got to hide this. Because
Yeah.
I told her about it, that I'd lived my life, blah, blah, and she knew all about it. She thought I was teasing her. She thought I was like some tease, like I just wanted to fuck all the time. Like she didn't understand. Yeah, she thought it was a big joke. She's like, oh yeah, listen, I'm a gay man in a girl's body. We got this. And yeah. And so when I asked her to marry me, which came as a complete shock to me anyway, because I really didn't ever want to get married again, but it happened. The sex was really great, Buck. It was.
Right
And so,
on.
and so I had asked her to marry me. And, about, I don't know, maybe 2 months post marriage, I had said, what if I wanted to transition again? And she had looked at me and said, I can't promise you forever, Lexi, because she didn't
Mm.
understand at that time. She didn't
Sure.
know. And so I shut up. I was like, okay, you know
Mm.
what? Maybe it's not for me. Maybe I'm just not going to do this.
Yeah.
Maybe whatever. I'm gonna be the man she needs me to be.
Yeah.
And apparently I couldn't do that because once I got laid off my job,
Yeah.
I was just all up in my fucking head. I would leave in the
Totally.
morning, like 7 o'clock. I would come
Hmm.
back when it's time to go to bed.
Hmm.
And I did that for about a year and a half. And then I kind of fell into a depression where I
Hmm.
stopped showering. I stopped pretty much taking care of myself. And then March of that year, 2021, I went to my garage. I took one of my pistols with me and I put it in my mouth and I pulled the trigger. And
Oh.
and here's the odd part. This is where things get a little weird. I reload my own ammunition. It's something I've always done, something I enjoy doing. You know, um, I had reloaded like 3 nights before that. I had reloaded 500 new rounds, and I just
What?
reached into the tumbler and I grabbed a handful and I just slipped them in the mag.
Oh
Pull back.
no.
Yeah, I pulled the trigger. It didn't go off.
Oh my God. Wow. And
It was
then,
missing a primer.
I mean, obviously it was supposed to be, but like, what was in your mind after you pulled the trigger and nothing
I was
happened?
crying. I was crying profusely. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to leave a mess. Really didn't want her to find me like that at the same time. But at the same time, it's like I couldn't do it anymore. Um,
Wow. That's so
and
sad.
I was so afraid to lose everything because of that one conversation.
Of
I can't
course.
promise you forever.
Of course.
And having losing everything before, I lost 4 boys that I raised for many years that I've never seen again. You know,
So you have
um,
kids?
well, I have my own kids, but she had kids too, the girl that I was with, and she had four
Okay.
boys that I helped raise for a long time. And I lost
Yeah.
them when she moved out, and
She never let you see them again?
Never. I don't even know where she is. I couldn't even tell you. I think she's in Arizona. I just don't know where. And at this point, it doesn't matter anymore.
And how long were you with her while you were with those kids? Did you say like 4 years or
I was with her like 6 years.
so those kids knew you for 6 years?
Yes.
And she just plucked the kids
Gone.
away. This is the part that pisses me off. You know, whatever's going on between you and her as adults, but when people use children, it actually makes my skin crawl because I can't stand it. I'm in a family of a child, and I'm this stepdad, but his dad is in our life. I'm like best friends with his dad. He doesn't call me dad; he calls me Buck, and we're just the most solid three-way because it's not about us; it's about the
No.
kid. And
Yeah.
so this is the shit that really those kids most definitely were affected by you being
Well,
pulled from their
it's
life.
interesting because I had a chance to talk with her a few times while she strung me along. And the youngest one, Caden, he had to go through so much therapy. He regressed.
Course.
He was
Of
going through
course.
all kinds of things, and he
Of course.
regressed. And he wanted to talk to me, and his mother wouldn't let him. And
Disgusting.
it was just one of those things. Like Buck, it tore me apart. To this
Of
day, I
course.
still miss those kids.
I know. I'm missing them for
They were
you.
my babies. You know what I mean? Like they were my kids. You know,
Oh my God.
and I still miss them. To this day, we're talking. God, it's been 10 years.
I'm so
Yeah, 10 years
sorry.
now.
I'm so
And
sorry.
so,
It's
like
gross.
it is, it's disgusting. And it's just one of those things that hurts, It's like
Hurts
my family's
everyone.
here. It does. It's like my family's here today and they were just gone.
No,
It's
I
crazy.
just I have no tolerance. You know, I'm really about kids, like, and not I don't mean that in a creepy way. You know what I mean? I'm just
No, I know
about
what you mean.
talking about the kids. I'm like, f you, trans kids, no such thing. F you, bringing kids into pride events. Like I just did that. I was talking about the video before you came on, and we
Yep.
caught, they caught these P people. We call them here on the channel. And that being said, like they're everywhere and they're disgusting. That is over there. But then I hear stuff like this. It's not just that stuff that happens to kids, SA stuff, but like this kind of mental torment. Like, what
Oh,
is
still
wrong with
torments me.
adults?
Yeah, still torments me today. I wish I knew how they were, what they were doing,
Who
how they
knows?
are.
Maybe the universe was waiting for you to get grounded in your transition, and maybe somehow they're gonna come back into your life. It's very hard to transition. I didn't have kids until way after my transition. I think it is hard on children. I won't lie about that. To have a parent transition, I think it is hard. Let's just be honest here. Like your dad, and then all of a sudden you're going to be mom, or your mom, and you're going to be dad. And then do they call
Mhm.
you mom and dad, or what do they call you? And there's a lot of psychological stuff going
Yeah.
on there, no doubt about it,
And
right?
so much so that I wouldn't even get close to my wife's kids. She
See?
has 8 kids, and I wouldn't get close to
What?
any of them. Well, yeah, most of them are grown now. We only have two that are under the age of 18 now, but it
Yeah.
was four. It was four when we got together. There was four still, but I wouldn't get close to them. I didn't want to get close to them because I was
Yeah. Of
afraid,
course.
and it made it. Unfortunately, I
Of
hate to say, it's
course.
made it a little uneasier to walk my ass down in the garage and take care of that. But the strangest part about all of this, Buck, was that I loaded 500 rounds that night. 500 I did,
Wow.
exactly 500.
Wow.
499 had primers.
Wow. Oh my God. That is crazy. No,
499 of them had it, except that one. I can't explain it. I've
well,
never had in 20 years. I've never had a misfire.
well,
20
you
years.
should just know that it's because it wasn't supposed to be, and you
That's
would
what
have
my
been
wife said
missed.
too.
Yeah, you would have been missed, and people would have had a lot of having to deal with it. So after you did that, did you get into some therapy? Like, did you
I
go?
did. I did. I
Mm-hmm.
talked to. I was, of course, I'm in addiction treatment, whatever. I talked to them about it. They put me with a counselor, and we talked and
Yeah.
talked and talked. And as I
Yeah.
said, the craziest part about that is 2 weeks later, 2 weeks, Buck. It was March 21st, 2021. My wife came to me and we had to talk. I was running a tree business at the time. I had my own tree company. How much more
Yeah.
manly can you get than trees, right? So, I came in the house that night. The dually was in the driveway. It was
Yeah.
running. I came in to grab a drink. That was
Yeah.
it, a drink. And as I was walking out, she stopped me. Said, "Lexi, I need to talk to you." I said, "Look, baby, I got things I got to do. I'm trying to beat the daylight. It's March,
Yeah.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to beat the daylight, go out. I got like 3 estimates I've got to go do."
Yeah.
And she said, "Look, we're gonna talk. We're gonna do it now." And she gave me that look of, "You better sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up."
I love her.
Yep. And I looked at her and said, "Can it wait?" She goes, no, you need to cancel whatever it is. We need to talk right now.
Mm.
And so I called up. I said, you need to give me a couple minutes. I said, I made calls. I canceled my appointment. We rescheduled the following day, whatever. And, we sat down and talked. And she started off with, Lexi, we've been married now, blah, blah. And, you're really distant. I've
Mhm.
asked you, repeatedly, how can I get closer to you? What's it going to take? Whatever.
Mhm.
And she goes, you don't love yourself, Lexi. Like, what is going on with you? And how can you love me if you don't love yourself? And,
Mhm.
she started off with, you're only giving me very little of you, and I want all of you.
Mhm.
And, the last words out of her mouth was, you told me that you would live this way for a long time. And after a few months, I really think that you should
Mm.
transition back to a woman. I want all of you, not some of you.
Wow.
And that was the most heartless thing, selfless thing she could have done.
For sure, because she cares about you. And I think a
Yep.
lot of people, I've interviewed women whose husbands decided to transition. They call them trans widows, by the way. So and these women didn't have the same experience that you had, and the husband was kind of maybe doing things behind their back or fetishizing it in a way, or being on the internet constantly with pornography and watching all of this stuff, but not interacting with their wife. And eventually they just felt the need to transition and forget everybody else. They were just gonna, and I understand the need to transition, but there seems to be this kind of space between you and your wife or partner, that there was a loving place where she said, I can't be with you until you're fully yourself, which is
Mm-hmm.
really, it is selfless.
It was. It
Yeah,
was. And I'll tell you, we're extremely close now. She has all of me, not parts of me. She gets
that's right. That's
all of
right.
it,
That's right.
and the strangest part to me was, I'm post-op 3 years,
Great, great,
and I
great,
really
great.
thought that she would leave after I did that,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
she didn't leave. She's just adapted
She
herself.
loves you.
She
My
does.
friend. I was going to say dude, but I call everybody dude. So
Dude's
just now you
fine. I
know.
get it all the
Yeah.
time. My son calls me dude, so
I
it's
call
fine.
everyone, I call my partner dude. So I just California. I'm from LA. So, but that being said, no, she actually loves you. I feel
She
it.
does.
Like she just cares about you, and that she wants to be with you. And so in order to be with you, she needs to say, this is what, I lost all my girlfriends during my transition. And I
I
always
lost many
tell,
friends.
I lost everyone, my lovers, everyone. But that being said, for me, it worked. That was the best way for me. But I always tell people, like, make sure, like, not to maybe get in a relationship when you're transitioning, and to understand this is your time to be with you and to understand you, right? And but your partner was so like really. Thank you, Lizzie. Lexi, I already love you to bits. You're a huge force in the world. See,
Thank
so we
you.
have good people here. They do care
Thank you.
about people. So as you, so now, so you had what we call bottom surgery.
Yes.
Yes, so you
Yes. I
had
went to
that.
Thailand to have it done. Yeah.
You went to Thailand, which they have great doctors there. I know
Oh
many
my God, some of
women.
the
Yeah,
best. They were great. I
great,
had Dr.
great,
Sutton, PAI Aesthetic Institute. They were amazing, absolutely amazing.
fantastic. Did your wife go with you?
She did. We were in Thailand for 35 days.
Awesome! It's so beautiful. I love Thailand's one of my favorite places. It's
Oh my
so
God, I
awesome.
can't wait to go back. Buck, I love it there. It's beautiful. I'd move there if
Oh,
I
that's
could.
sweet. I know, so would I. It's so
Yeah,
great. So that's great. You went and did that. So now you're fully transitioned,
I
and
am.
yep, you're fully transitioned, and so now you live your life as a woman, and so tell me about that. Like how you navigate the world. People are just cool with you, and
I
like,
got to tell you, a lot of people talk about having problems and stuff when they go out in public. And, I mean, honest to God, Buck, I've never had an issue no matter where I go.
I love you, dude.
Um,
Right.
I don't know if they're like in people's faces or
They
what,
are.
but
They are.
it's
They
like,
are.
Lily Tino, she's a great instance. Oh, it's ma'am, hurts my heart.
Rah.
Shut the fuck up, bitch. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. But like, I haven't been misgendered. Like, I'm to the point now where it's kind of not sure, but I'll leave it alone, you know. And most people don't bother me. I mean, I use the ladies' room. I do what I got to do,
Because you're
haven't
being
been with
chill
a child
about
in
it.
years.
You're just
Right.
being chill about it. You're not going in with a camera and like, you're going straight to the stall and, whatever. Like that's just it. This is how it's always been. Remember, I
Funny,
transitioned
funny.
33 years ago.
Yeah,
Always been like
funny
that.
thing about Lily, it's like, oh yeah, every girl's taking a picture, a selfie because they want to, they feel cute. And I'm thinking to myself, girl, I ain't never gone, never happened. Sorry.
Never, never doesn't happen.
No.
Women
And if
don't
I
do
take a
that.
picture in a bathroom, look, I don't need to take a picture of myself where I pee and poop. Come on.
It's so weird. It's
It
so
is weird.
twisted. Lily ruined so much for all of us to just be able to walk the world. And like, of course, when you're transsexual, you got to figure it out. And you're smart. You are actually smart, Lexi, and know when and where and not to make yourself like an object of focus, right?
Well, I
You don't
mean,
want to be an object of focus.
I'm not dressed like I'm 10. I'm wearing normal clothes. I mean, I don't understand the
God.
super bright colors and the half crop top shirts, and she ain't got tits for that. I'm sorry, but
I
it's
don't
like
think I don't think Lily even had surgery
she,
down there. I don't think so. I think
no,
it's all false. Yeah.
rumor has it she had her testicles removed or whatever. I don't know how true that is. I'm
I
not
don't
paying
think
for
so.
OnlyFans, so but like my top grew on its own. Like these things grew on their own. Like holy
Yeah.
shit, they came out,
Yeah.
and
Wow. They
like
actually did. That's
yeah,
amazing.
I wear 34 triple D.
That's just estrogen?
Just progesterone.
I mean, progesterone. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Oh my God.
So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I took estrogen and progesterone, and I didn't take the progesterone orally though, but we'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
But
Right.
there's a doctor out there. What is his name? Dr. Will Powers.
Okay.
My wife and I did a lot of research on him, and he's really
Great.
fucking smart.
Great.
And he says taking progesterone, the identical one, the little oil, whatever, he
Yeah.
says helps improve breast growth from day one. So I actually started progesterone and estrogen on day one. Yeah.
Genius.
And the crazy
Wow.
part is that I found out that less is more when it came to transition as far as estrogen was concerned. I'm on a
Yes.
5 milligram dose once a week right now.
That's
And
it.
my face feminized like so much just in the last year from changing it to a maintenance dose.
No, because I just do 1 cc of tea every week. That's all I've ever done. Okay, I went through a steroid phase back in the day, 20 years
I
ago.
did too in my
Yeah,
teens.
yeah, totally. But that's just normal weird body shit. But now I've been on, and I have no problems. All these young trans guys are having liver damage, and like because they're all slamming testosterone, like it's like going to make a difference, and it has nothing. It's
Less is
slow and
more.
less is more. It is an
Yep.
actual factual thing that is incredible. So
Yep.
so great. So you're healthy, you're
Thank you,
moving
Ann.
forward, you're doing all of the right kinds of things.
I'm just
Let's
living
talk.
life.
I want to talk a little bit about your opinion about trans kids. Would you mind having that conversation with
No,
me?
let's have it. What do you want to know?
So what do you think about trans kids?
Well, my views are a little different than yours, but not
Sure,
too much.
sure.
Not too much different.
Great.
I was a trans kid, and so were you. We knew we obviously knew we were younger, right?
Well, before you go forward, I just want to say this. I don't call myself a trans kid because I say I was a kid with dysphoria.
Okay,
Because I
that's
think
fair.
the problem for me is that label. And once you put
That's fair.
because I lived my life as a tomboy, I lived as a lesbian, I was a dyke, and I don't think of it or regret any of it at all. So that being said, I don't actually think of myself as a trans kid. I think of myself as a kid who was dealing with some dysphoric space.
My life
needs.
led me where I am. I don't regret anything I did, well, except for the drugs. But
Yeah.
I guess ultimately it still led me where I am today, right? So,
Sure.
but
Sure.
that being said, I don't think that these kids that are 4, 5, 6, 10, even 12 should be
Yeah.
really considering it. I'm not really big on the whole puberty blocker thing, but I
Yeah.
understand why people would use them.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I know that they give them to kids like precocious puberty or whatever if they start a
Yeah.
little early, whatever,
Yeah.
and that's all well and good. I don't
Sure.
see anything wrong with a social transition.
Okay.
But I mean, I definitely would never advocate for surgery on anybody. But I can tell you that when I was a kid, myself, I wish that I knew. Like, I was a very effeminate child,
Okay.
and I played with, Barbies and when we were kids that was girl stuff. I
Right.
wanted to play Tea Party with my girlfriends, and I
Right.
had all girlfriends growing up. And, as I got older and I became a teen, it was really hard navigating through puberty for me, but obviously I figured it out. and I got married at 18, did everything we're supposed to do, whatever. But I do wish that the resources were there, that I could have at least known, at least therapy,
Okay.
because I know that when I was a kid, my father would tell the therapist to just kind of not entertain the idea.
Okay.
And it was interesting because the therapist would look at me and say, "Oh, listen, it's perfectly normal. Every kid wonders what it's like to be the other, whatever, like,
Yeah, I agree.
and
Mm-hmm.
and that very well might be the truth, but that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't what I was feeling. So I don't think that we
Right.
should be
That's
teaching these
dysphoria.
kids. Yes, exactly. And
Yeah.
she wasn't explaining that to me. I didn't know. And so
Sure.
I learned to live with it in my years. I just thought everybody did that. I thought that was normal until I found out otherwise. It wasn't normal because I started
That's
asking
right.
my friends these questions, and they're like, "Yeah, no, I like my dick or whatever." And it's like, "Yeah, I hate mine." So what's going on here?
See that?
Um,
See that? This is why. See, I said that's why we need real therapists who
yep.
ask questions. We don't
Yes.
have that. We have what's
No.
called affirmation therapists. So the minute a
Yes.
kid says I'm trans, they stamp the label. Now we have a huge influx of detransitioners
I don't disagree with
because
that.
we are just pushing the kids through, like kids know who they are. So that's again why I'm going to go back to, I don't call myself a trans kid. I was struggling with dysphoria, or I wanted
That's
to be a
fair.
boy, right? And again, I also want to let you know, that's why I love having the conversations with trans women, because there's different experiences you and I have, right? It's
Yes.
much easier to be a masculine girl than it is to be an effeminate boy.
Oh God, yes.
Society stereotypes. So I think a lot of times, a lot of men struggle with their femininity, and then in whatever's, I'm not saying you were a feminine boy, but you were struggling with these.
Oh, I was
And then,
very much so. I was bullied real hard throughout high school.
and then you became more masculine as you
Yes.
grew up to sort of compensate for the
Yes.
femininity part of it.
Exactly. Yes.
Right. That's why we really need to talk about these stereotypes, and why can't a girl be masculine and a man be feminine, and not shove them. And then when you get to an adult space, you're like, you know what? I actually am a transsexual. I feel this way. That's really my stance on it, and only because I believe if I wouldn't have lived the life I lived before, as a young person, I don't think I would be as. I'm 33 years into transition. I never look back ever, and I never will. It's the best thing
No.
that I ever did,
Me
and so
too.
that's why it's very nuanced, and it's
Can't
not
believe I ever
so.
stopped the first time. Ugh.
Right, but we make it so hard lined, right? We make it, oh, this kid is struggling. Well, yeah, kids struggle. You and I both have kids, so we know kids struggle about shit all the time. That's just part of
You're
being
absolutely right. No, and you're absolutely right. They go through this, that, and whatever.
Yeah,
And it's hard
yeah,
being a kid. Let's face it, kids are fucking cruel, right? So it's hard,
totally.
and
Yes, it's so
so
hard.
like I said, I think within a limit, in some ways, I wish that was available to like me, because now I'm spending all of this money reversing it. Like my voice, eventually I'm going to do something with it,
Sure,
and the only reason
sure.
I'll tell you, the only reason I haven't done anything with it is I have my social media on Twitch and TikTok. And that's probably
Okay,
the only reason I haven't done anything out of it because
why?
it makes me money.
Oh, people like your deep voice.
They do.
Why
It
do you
makes me
think that
money.
is? Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know. I
You think
constantly hear.
it's the juxtaposition of you being feminine and then this man voice coming out of you? Do you think it's that, or do you think it adds to your trans
I
sort
think
of?
I think maybe people tell me that my voice is soothing to them. It
Oh,
relaxes them or
okay,
whatever.
yeah,
You have a great
yeah.
voice for radio, and that's all well
Oh,
and
you
good.
do.
I
I'm
appreciate that.
jealous. I'm
I,
actually jealous. My voice sounds like a 16-year-old or 15-year-old
but
little
now,
boy.
but see, you understand then why I haven't done it yet. And it's something that's on my list. But here's the thing: I'm afraid that if I do it, I won't have my audience anymore,
Okay, okay, that's fair. I mean,
and
whatever
that's the
makes
only
you
reason I
happy.
haven't done it.
Yeah.
But
What
I love
about?
your voice, by the way.
Oh, thank you. But what about when you walk the world? Let's just get off the internet, and let's say you were like going to a restaurant and you're
Not
ordering
as
a
deep.
hamburger.
Not as deep.
Oh, you can make it a little less
I
deep.
do. So, like, even today, I was out and about for my last appointment. I stopped and a gentleman opened the door for me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, thank you," and I'm just kind of
Oh,
little
got it.
higher.
Got
whatever.
it.
But I'm
Got it.
lazy, and so I don't keep it like that, you
I
know.
love it. No, I
Um,
know. I get it. Because I could
yeah,
actually, if I calm down and I just speak more like this, my voice will be
it's
definitely
deeper.
much. But I'm always an excited person, and that makes my voice go higher. And
Yeah. So when I'm out, it changes a little bit. It's like, oh my God, thank you, you know, and it's like I'll do
okay,
something, maybe
got
something
it.
like that, or if I'm ordering
Got
something
it.
like, oh, you know, I just want a cheeseburger with cheese, and that'll be great, thanks, you know, or
Yeah, right
whatever.
on. Right
And
on.
so, well, as much as I'd love to change it permanently, you know,
I know. I'm all about like I don't have bottom surgery. I just did this surgery. Blah blah blah. Whatever may. That's why we have to really understand that we're all different as transsexual people. Whatever is your dysphoria, whatever makes you feel happy to walk the world. You don't have to change your voice if you don't want to. You would only do it to appease other people, if that makes sense. But if you're comfortable with it, you shouldn't even, don't even, but you can do voice training if you wanted
I
to
can.
do
And I've actually
that.
looked into it. One of my followers on TikTok reached out to me. I guess her mom works at the University of Minnesota or Wisconsin or whatever.
Okay. Okay.
She's supposed to be reaching out to me. But see, this young beauty over there in the chat said it's a deep voice and accent. It can come off sexy, even coming from a woman. It sounds like the stepsister from Shrek, too. I appreciate
Right
that.
on.
See, I come
Right
from
on.
Massachusetts where I park my car and have it yard next to the water because it's wicked awesome. You know, so like,
I love it. I
I get
love
that a
it.
lot. And so, yeah, that's probably the only reason I haven't changed it, to be honest.
I know. I think it's so great. No, everyone's really saying great things about your voice. So that
I
must
appreciate
mean that everyone just is totally. So don't touch it, friend. leave it. Leave it how it is.
it's great, you know.
No, it's great. I'm so happy that you have a pretty big platform on TikTok. You have like over
I
hundred
do. I
thousand
do
followers.
120 something thousand and growing fairly
Fantastic.
quickly these weeks. Since I've gone
Great.
after Tino there, it's grown like exponentially much faster. I went from 101,000 to 120,000 like a week. Yeah, it was insanity.
Incredible. I
And
by
even
the
my
way,
platform on Twitch is huge.
oh,
I
you
got
do Twitch too.
Twitch is actually my full-time job. I worked there full-time as social media content creator where I talk about all different, it started off as trans things, right? It started off all about
Sure.
me and being
Sure.
trans, but it's turned into so much more of that now. And it's kind of
Okay,
what we talk about
great.
everything. I got
Great.
31,000 followers over on Twitch and growing all the time.
Wow, that's so. Do you
Yeah.
also play game? Is Twitch for gaming, or is it just you can do
No, I
whatever?
don't. You can pretty much do what you want, but I actually have a talk show where my wife will sit right here and join me in my chair over
Great,
here. She'll sit and join me,
great.
and most of the time, sometimes we'll talk about things in the news, whether it's politics or not, or whatever. Sometimes somebody's trauma dumping. There's a lot of trauma dumping, and so we try to give our best advice for that or whatever. But
Great,
it turned out
great.
as a talk show. I've never played a single fucking game on Twitch at all. And
Wow.
I
Can you
just
say whatever you want on like on YouTube? It's
within
obviously
reason, yes.
okay.
You can't
Okay.
describe the act of
Oh, like you can't do
uh,
sexual kind of
no.
stuff.
Well,
Okay,
you
right.
can say sex, you can say penis, vagina, breast, things like that,
Sure,
but you can't
sure.
describe the actual act of having
Okay,
sex.
got it,
So you
got
can't
it.
talk about action back there. You
No,
can't mention
sure,
those things, right? So
sure.
that you can get away with, but I mean, other than that, I'm unrestricted. Unlike TikTok, which you can't do that because TikTok's got an
No,
AI moderator for everything. You
literally,
know,
I've been like that's why I didn't put a lot of energy into that. But lately, I've been going on a little bit more. But
if you're
admitted
gonna
I
do
start.
videos, it's great, but if you're gonna do lives, it sucks.
Oh, it's every time I do a live, I'm just like, what am I saying? That they're like community standards. I'm like, but wait, I'm just so tired of being censored. It's like ridiculous
It
behavior.
does suck.
It doesn't make sense to me because if like you and I want to talk about certain things, we should be able to do that within reason and
Yes,
well, obviously within reason, but also if our
we're
what
two
is your
consenting
fam?
adults.
That's what I'm saying. Well, and also is your fan base tends to
Only
be more
adults. I will
adult.
not allow children on my stream.
Oh,
If
thank
you're
you
under the
so
age of
much.
18, get the fuck out.
Thank you. Oh my God, a responsible human
Yes.
being.
I
Like
listen,
how?
Buck. I won't allow my own children on my stream until they're 18.
Me
Yeah.
either.
I want to allow my own damn children here. And
Oh
I
my
made it a
God.
policy that, if my kids are 18 years old, and I have two chairs right here for guests, if my
Yeah.
kids want to join me, they can.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one of my son joins me once in a while. We
Sure.
have one of our older daughters that joins us once in a while.
Sure.
And I got one that's turning 18 soon. She wants to join us, and that'll be perfectly fine. But
Yeah.
until she turns 18, She will not be on the camera at all. Not my TikTok, not
Nope.
here.
Right on,
Nowhere.
friend. Thank you for saying that. I am so against people putting their children on the
Me
internet.
too.
It is sick and twisted and
Yep.
wrong. I mean, there's no consent. A child's not consenting to you putting their face all over the internet. When they get old enough,
Especially being trans. Let's face it.
that not only that, but just the abuse that people do on these channels, these family channels, right?
Yep.
And the insane stuff people do to make millions of dollars off their kids. It's
Yep.
child abuse. I
It
really
is.
do think it's child abuse.
And these kids don't get anything from it, you know. And that's crap too. You know, there's I don't know if you I don't know how long you've been on TikTok, but I've been there like 4 years, and
Yeah.
it just started off talking about, you know, I actually did TikTok for therapy, as crazy as it's going to sound.
Wow.
I did it for therapy to tell my journey, the things that I've been
Great.
through in my life, and
Great.
it just turned into so much more from there, you know. And
Great.
so I just grew fast, and whatever, I guess, you know. So I
Well, no,
became
you have a
popular.
great personality and you're really
appreciate
honest.
that.
And, you know, you're the kind of people that I connect to in the trans community. I won't tolerate these crazy people who are just ruining everything. I worked
I'm tired of the
hard.
trans trenders. I'm sick of them.
Oh, they're disgusting and they're ruining it. And kids are getting sucked into it. And many of these kids shouldn't even be touching hormones. And
As an advocate, you know, I try to advocate for our community, obviously, you know.
Sure,
I'm not a
sure.
trans elder like you, but I mean, I've been around enough, you know. And
But you're an older adult. You're an
I am.
adult who transitioned as an adult, and your voice
Yes.
does matter in that space. But also, you're coming to it from a male to female. I'm coming to it from a
aspect.
female to male, and I'm telling you, the majority of the kids who are transitioning, Lexi, are female to male. It's not
Yes, I've
your
caught a lot of
side.
that. I've caught a lot of that.
It's not good, and they're cutting off their breasts at 16. That is not okay with me.
No,
I will not.
I don't approve of that
And
either.
if I took my shirt off right now, you would never even know I had chest surgery because I don't
Can you
have
smoke
scars.
on YouTube?
I don't know. I think so. I don't know why
All right, I'm
not.
gonna have a
I
cigarette.
don't know why.
I smoke
don't
on my
know.
show, so
I mean, I never even had the thought of smoking, so I don't know why. It's not
my
against the
one bad
law.
habit. My one.
You're an
vice.
adult. I don't know
Yes.
why it wouldn't be okay.
It's my one vice in life, you know.
It's not like you're
But-
15 lighting up a cigarette. Like,
No, I know, but it's just I didn't know. I don't know how YouTube is because I'm on Twitch.
I don't either, but we'll find
So,
out.
we'll find out, yeah.
I'm constantly getting nailed on here, like for saying stuff. I'm like, oh well, what are you gonna do about it?
It's always something, you know. So what I was going to say is when I started advocating, well, thanks, Bailey. When I started advocating, you know, I kind of fell into the whole, oh, you know, there's no rules for transitioning. If you say you're trans, you're
Yeah.
trans. I fell
Yeah.
into all of that when I started. But
Yeah.
the longer I go, the more I talk, the more I advocate,
Yeah.
the more I understand from my feminine perspective. You know, people like Lily Tino, people who say that they want to keep their fucking beards even though they're trans, you know, this, that, whatever. I'm on the board of fuck you, you're not trans. You think you're fucking trans, you're a
I'm on the
cross-dresser.
board.
And that's all wonderful for you,
That's right.
but don't call yourself trans. Stay the fuck out of the ladies' room because you're confusing people.
Thank you. That's, you know, we need that more from people like you because I can say it over and over, but I'm not in your position. No one ever bothers me. I go to the dude's room, even before I had a mustache and beard, you know, because I mind my own business. But when I didn't pass, I really did use the women's room when I was more of a dyke, but people would be like, oh, there's a man in the women's room. I'm like, I'm a woman. And they'd be
I
like,
didn't start
oh,
using the ladies' room until I somewhat passed. I'm with
that's
you. I
because
feel
you respect.
Yes.
That's your respect for women and why I really value my friendship with people like you because you have to respect women. If you want to be a woman, you've got to respect females, okay?
I don't talk in the bathroom though.
Because people would actually be like, because
Uh-huh.
your voice is a little deep, so people might be like,
Yeah.
but I saw somebody on here who said, Mike, you sound like my girlfriend. And so I thought that was a cool comment. I can't remember who it was, but they were like,
I've heard that. I've heard that. Yeah, somebody said, you know, people say, oh, yeah, but you know what? It's kind of a raspy because you smoke feminine type voice. That's great. Somebody compared me once to Big Ange on Mob's Wives. And I'm thinking to myself, and I took a picture of her and I'm like, is that an insult or a fucking compliment?
It's a compliment. I think it's no. You totally do. You sound like you sound like a smoker. That's what you sound like.
I'm a smoker.
There you
So,
go.
yeah, it makes sense, you know.
There you go. So did you
it
get
was
rid
kinda
of your
funny.
tree? Did you get rid of your tree business and now you're full time just content?
You know, so I don't know how it is when you transitioned from, you know, female to male, but
Yeah.
when I started transitioning, I went through puberty, oddly enough.
Sure. Sure.
And so my brain started doing weird things,
Okay.
and I
Sure.
got really irresponsible, if you will. But yeah, so I tried transitioning, but the muscle in my body was deteriorating so fast
Okay.
that I couldn't keep up. And so I actually ended up selling everything and getting out of it.
Oh, good for you. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
I
totally.
couldn't keep up. It's like my stamina was just going away. And it's like once you cut that testosterone up, man.
Well, also you had bottom surgery and you take estrogen, so you're literally going into a whole other. Whatever anybody believes, hormones are powerful,
They
and
are.
they
And they
will.
dictate a lot.
I mean, I was very masculine as a woman, but nowhere near what you see now. And the way my brain thinks is differently, and the way I move through the world is differently. The way I interact with people is
Yes.
much. I'm a very emotional guy, though. I do. People see me all the time cry on here when I talk
So
about
what?
certain things. But
So
that being
what?
said, no, I feel very empowered to be able to be a man and cry because I think we need to stop those against stereotypes that men can't be emotional. That is ridiculous. I slam
Let me tell you a
testosterone and I'm
story.
crying. Yeah,
Let me tell you a story. So when I
yeah,
was man mode, which I can actually show you man mode.
man. I would love to see man mode.
I can show you man mode. Well, I can show you what I looked like as a man. Hang on. What is
Great,
it?
great. I love that you share
I'm on
that.
my Twitch. I love sharing it.
I think
To
it's
show the
so
people
empowering.
the big difference. So can you see that?
That's so good. I love it. Oh, thank
You
you
can
for
see that.
sharing. Oh yeah,
So
wow.
you
You
look at me
took. Oh,
now, like I'm a totally different person.
my God, it really did change your face. It is incredible. Did you have facial feminization at all?
No,
That's
I've had none
actually
of that.
just hormones. Thank you
Hormones are
for
a powerful
sharing
drug.
that.
No, my pleasure.
Wow, that
You
is
know,
actually
but
phenomenal.
as you see in that picture, like I'm built. Like I got muscle. I got no
No,
neck.
you're a big dude.
I'm a
Yeah,
big guy, 240 pounds.
Oh my God, you were like, good. God had better plan for you. Oh, thank
Very
you,
clearly,
MM.
yes.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
friend. Thank you.
Very
Yeah, no,
clearly, but yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's crazy when you think about it. How much it is. But actually, when I married my wife, this is what I looked like when I married her.
I just love these before pictures. They're like my
Isn't that
favorite.
wild?
I love
Still,
it.
totally
I mean, you're a
different.
handsome guy. I know people
Well,
don't
thank
like
you.
to hear that, but people
I
will
hear it a
say,
lot. I hear it a
yeah,
lot.
sure, sure, sure. You
Oh,
were.
you're a sexy guy, but you're a beautiful woman. I mean, like
Oh
I
no, I
hear it a
get it.
lot.
I used to get it all the time when I was on Howard Stern. He was all like, "Oh my God, you
Uh,
were like the hottest girl. I would have totally done you." And I said, "Dude, I would have never done you." Like, I like shut him up there. No, I know people think it's like cringy to
uh,
tell someone they were good looking before. It's like, why would you
I'm dying
transition?
to get on Howard Stern's show. My God, I'm dying to
Is
get
it
on his
even
show.
still around the Howard Stern? I
He's
don't
still
even
doing
know.
it, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
is he? Oh, you should get on. I don't know if he
I
does the
wouldn't know how to
same.
connect with that guy.
I don't even know if he does the same kind of insane shit when I was on 20 years ago. Like I think he's
Well, 20 years ago, you were a big thing. You were
yeah,
huge. You
totally.
were huge in the industry.
Oh,
You were
because
a
I was in
thing.
the porn industry, so it was like
Yeah,
a
so you
whole
were a
thing.
thing.
Yeah, it was
You
like a
know,
whole thing because
and
no, there was no
you and a
trans.
few other people were the only thing I ever knew about the
Yeah,
word trans. The word transsexual to me growing up
yeah,
was, Rocky Horror Picture Show, or
yeah.
you look at,
That's right.
how they portrayed transsexuals, and that's what the movie with Dan Aykroyd, Eugene Levy, was it Armed and Dangerous or whatever, with the ass
Funny
cheeks
shit.
hanging out, and
Totally
it's like,
hilarious.
yeah, so I would look at the TV and be like, yeah, but wait, that's not me. You
I
know what I
know,
mean?
yeah, because we
I'm
got
just,
made fun of. We all got
yeah,
made,
oh,
but they mostly made fun
yeah.
of men becoming one. They very, very remember that movie It's Pat. So they had It's Pat was
Yes.
a big one because she was androgynous. We couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman.
No, you couldn't.
So they used to just make fun of all of the stereotypes, which I personally think is funny. I think it's kind of funny just to kind of you got to make fun of stuff sometimes. People get too rigid about it, right?
I
Like
agree. No, I
you
agree
know,
with you.
yeah, it's
People are
like
very
so
rigid.
what? So
I love
what?
my transition. I love everything about it.
I know you
It's
have
such
that
a
energy.
journey, and
Yeah,
it's really a hell of a journey. People
yeah,
think that we also, you stay the same, and people,
yeah,
just do this. Like, now you change
yeah.
so much because, like you, I think like a woman, I interact like a woman, I do the things that women
That's
do, and
right.
my
That's right.
body, my mind, my everything changed. And a
Yes.
lot of people don't understand that. The purple
They
monkey
don't.
is dope, says Chili Up. The purple monkey was
And
the first
everyone's loving your
puppy.
purple.
So the purple monkey was the first thing my wife ever bought me when I started my transition, because I was so
Oh,
emotional, and we were at the gas station and I saw it and I just like fell in love with it. And
great.
so it was like the first thing she bought
Great.
me. And then the GI Joe
Oh,
toy behind me
oh, you have a
is
GI Joe?
I
Oh
do.
my
That's
gosh.
original from 1983.
I have an original from 1970.
Oh Jesus!
One of
But I
my
bet
ex-girlfriends bought for
some of
me.
the original stuff. This is an Ewok from Star Wars from when I was a kid.
Oh, wow. That's so
So
cool.
I put that stuff up there for like my guy guest in my show on Twitch, you
Right
know.
on.
And
Right
then
on.
the Stitch showed up from one of my followers, and so did the Grogu as well. So there's a few things. Almost everything up there is
That's
from somebody
cute.
else, with the exception of those few things. But it's like, I mean, I played with toys like a boy as when I was a
Yep.
kid, but
Yep.
I played a
Yep.
little different. But still, I mean, I played with toys and the things that boys did. I tried to be as
Yep.
boy as I could,
Of course. Of course.
but it really wasn't possible. But people don't understand how, like you said, hormones are so powerful and they
They're
change so
crazy.
much. And
Yes.
and that's why, like you said, when it comes to children, I wouldn't advocate for kids to be on them because they're already going through hell in their fucking brain already. And
Also, we don't even know what it's going to do. We have no long-term research. Leave the kids alone. Let them dress how they need to dress. Like I was a
now
little
you want to
tomboy.
socially transition, go for it. I'm cool
Go
with that.
for
I
it. I
don't
don't
care.
care. Like who
You want to
cares?
grow
Like
your
just
hair long, call yourself, Mary, go for it.
that's
I'm down with
right.
it.
That's right.
Whatever.
That's how I grew up. My
But
my
there are
parents called me a
sometimes I
boy
wish
name.
that, these younger kids could have, because again, I'm spending thousands to change my body, and
See, though, that's the difference.
that's
It
the
is much
downside.
more difficult for a man to become a woman than it is
It
for a woman.
is.
All I needed to do was cut my tits off, grow a beard, go to the gym. I'm good. But I think it's
Yeah,
a much more difficult space for a
it
male to
is.
female, the
I am so lucky
feminization.
to have changed in my face without any
Yes.
operations at all. I'm
It's
so lucky.
incredible. You really,
Yeah.
no, it's your genetics. I'm telling you. Also, genes do play, I know,
I
never
look
had a
like my
feminine
mother.
body.
I look very much like
Wow.
my mother.
How are
Yeah, I
your
do.
parent? Are your parents around?
Well, my dad died a few years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I wasn't close with him.
Okay.
But I had actually cut him off in 2015. Long
Oh,
story.
wow. Wow.
But, I did get a chance to see my father on his deathbed when
Mhm.
he was dying. And I did
Mhm.
present as me because I was about a year into my transition at that point. A year and a half or so. I had just gotten back from Thailand. It was November of that year.
Wow.
And he was on his deathbed, and I was still recovering from fucking surgery, and
Wow.
it takes a long time to heal from that, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
And so, like, I saw him and he approved. He gave me his approval, which I thought was great.
Wow.
Now, my mom, on the
Wow.
other hand, I had a great relationship with my mom. As you see me as a man with the beard, whatever, I had a great relationship.
Great.
After I transitioned, not so good. It was my
Your
mom's birthday a
mom?
couple of days ago. Yeah, my mom. Yeah, not
I'm
not so great.
shocked
I am
because
too,
usually it's the
actually.
opposite. Usually the moms are like all good with it, but the dads freak out. Like, wow, that's
Mhm.
interesting.
Yep,
So
it's
you don't
crazy.
talk to her at all?
I do, but it's not as often as I'd like. It's not the relationship
Right.
that I used to have with my mom. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I used to be able to
Right.
talk to my mom about anything. We were close. We
Yeah.
go out to lunch, go out to dinner. We talk
Oh,
about this, that,
wow.
whatever. But now I'm
Wow.
lucky if I hear from once every 3 months, maybe.
Right.
Even if I reach out, I never get a call back or a text, or it's
That's
crazy.
her. That's her stuff. I hope you know that it's not you. It's her. She has to work through it.
Well, you
You're
want to hear the
happy.
messed up part about that, Buck? Is that my
Yeah.
brother, when I was younger, I remember my brother being older, and he was 18, 19 at the time. He was dating a
Yeah.
man. My brother was dating a
Oh.
man. My mom
Okay.
loved his fucking boyfriend. He was fucking great as far as my mother was concerned.
Great. Great.
And when I transitioned, apparently because I'm changing my appearance and altering my body, I'm not her son anymore.
That's right.
So
That's
so
right.
apparently that's the issue.
Well, it is the issue. That's what I'm saying. It's your mom's. It's your mom's issue. It's not yours. People have a much harder time. Well, actually, I'm gonna take that back. Actually, that's not true. Some people are much cooler with you becoming a man than being gay. It's why I think a lot of parents, to me, some of the trans parents, I think they don't want to have a gay child, and I do feel like some of that stuff is homophobia. To be honest with you,
Oh, for sure.
they're rushing into changing their kids so fast. I'm like, hold up here, like
Yeah.
your kid said they're trans, and then you're transitioning them.
These kids need to have more counseling for
Oh
sure.
my God, the counseling is out. It's not even part of the process anymore. And it's so
No, it should be.
sad to me, but it's
It
interesting.
used to be,
Mhm.
family therapy, group therapy, individual
All of it,
therapy.
all of
It should
it,
be all of that. And if it's not
all
all
of
of
it.
that, these kids shouldn't be on anything.
Well, you watch. I hate to say this, but you mark my words. There's going to be thousands of more detransitioned kids than I've already interviewed over 100 of them, and I'm
I
telling you,
believe it.
every single one of their stories is almost the same. They got on the internet. They got into a group. COVID was around. They were lonely. A lot of them are autistic. A lot of them are loner kind of kids. It's like the
Yeah.
perfect storm to
Well, look at
sort of
Lily
just.
Tino.
I
COVID.
Lily. Oh
COVID. Wait,
God,
COVID, right?
I hate Lily Tino.
COVID.
I actually
Oh,
do.
and it's funny too because she tells her story. It's like, how did you know you were trans? Oh, I put on a dress and I liked it.
Exactly. That's called cross dressing, by the way.
Yeah. Like, okay, you liked it. Hey, good for you. I'm glad you loved the pretty dress, but it's
And
deeper
also,
than that. It's so much
oh my
deeper.
God, it's like an actual disorder. I don't care
Yeah.
how what you. This is an actual. It's not normal for a man to want to be a woman and a woman, but it doesn't make it bad. That's
No,
the thing that people need to understand. We
I'm
have a
not insane.
disorder of here. It's okay, but we
I
just
call it
fix
more of a
it.
sexual disorder than anything.
Right. Whatever.
I don't think it's a
However,
mental illness. I think it's more of a
it's
sexual
not an
disorder.
illness, it's a disorder, and that's the
Yes.
thing that people need to understand. There's a big difference between a mental illness, that's like a serial killer, and then there's a and then there's people like us who have a disorder, and
Right.
it's we fix it through hormonal, and it's our appearance. Our appearance needs to match the way we want people to see us. It's real
Yeah.
simple, and if we got back to the simplicity of it, believe me, I have garnered a huge following of non-trans people. Most of the
too.
people in the room right now are non-trans, non-LGBT.
Me too.
You too, because we are authentic and we're just saying, "Hey, look, man, we're happy, we're good. We're not trying to force this down your throat. We don't believe this
I
and
don't
that."
understand that one though. I don't
What?
understand that. Stop shoving your shit down my throat. It's like, wait, what? I don't understand that because it's like I'm not the one that's going to your door to door trying to get you to convert to be gay or lesbian or trans.
Yeah, that's right. But
You don't
you
see
got lumped in.
trans buildings on every other fucking street corner like you do at church.
But
You
you got
know?
lumped into the weirdo people. You and I
Yeah.
both got lumped. We're not trying to shove this down anybody's throat. We're just
I just
saying
want to live my life.
we're good. We don't want to advocate for like all the nonsense that these people are doing. Too many
And
people
that's
are
why I've
being
started changing my opinion a lot, Buck, because
great, great.
again, when I started advocating, I thought I had to satisfy everybody. And it's
No, you
like,
don't.
no, I'm
No, you
not
don't.
doing this. I need to have my own voice.
That's right. Good
Lately
for
I
you.
feel that, these people, they want to keep their beards and they want to walk in the ladies' rooms. Well, fuck you. Stay out of the ladies' room. You're confusing people. Stop it.
It's gross and it's
It is. It's
wrong.
gross. And let's
Not.
face it, a beard is what? It's a fucking man's trait. I couldn't wait to get rid of my beard.
That's
Couldn't
right.
wait
That's
to
your
get rid of it.
dysphoria. Of
Yes.
course.
Everything
I mean, why
got
would you
so
want to have a
dysphoric
beard?
so much, exactly. And
Why would you
know.
want to have a beard? Like, what is so wrong? That's how come nobody was calling these people out and they're like, you're transphobic. What? That is a dude in
then
the
I'm
ladies' room.
transphobic. Then I'm transphobic.
Totally. But
You know,
oh my
I'm,
God,
I'm
friend.
sick and tired of people deciding what's transphobic and what isn't. And
Well,
I
that
think
just
that
over
too many
there.
people have jumped on to the trans
That's
train,
right.
like you said. And and I actually just did a video on TikTok about trans trenders.
Oh God.
I'm over these people that think they're fucking trans and they're not. Like, you need to
I
seek some
know.
help, get some therapy.
That's right.
You're not trans. And the crazy thing is, when I
That's
went
right.
to Thailand, I had two therapists from here. First off, I had to get 2 letters from here, and I
Great.
still needed 2 more when I got to Thailand because that's Thai law, right? So I had to see a
Excellent.
therapist there. And
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times they reminded me between the time I got there and even right up to the operating table. Dr. Sutton came in and looked at me and goes, Lexi, look, this is irreversible, right?
Yes.
And one more time, the
Excellent.
anesthesiologist looked at me and goes, you heard him, right? It's irreversible. And I'm like, yes, I understand.
Wow.
The doctor nodded his fucking head, and that was it. I woke up.
Wow. See, this is what they won't operate on children in Thailand. They've been doing they've been doing sex changes for way before we were. Okay,
That's why I went to Thailand, gender change capital of the world.
that's right, because they understand as an adult,
Yes.
but they would never touch a child. They won't give you hormone. They won't do anything. Those are the people we should be watching for. And there's a lot of beautiful trans women who are completely grounded,
I met quite a few.
and they're honest about. That's why they call
Yes.
them lady boys, because they're honest about the fact that they're not women. They're men. They're men who want to be women, which is a whole other. We should really be following their guidelines because they're
couldn't
really
hurt.
responsible. It couldn't hurt.
Couldn't hurt. No.
We are in a very bad space as trans people in this country because we have
are right now. We're in a
Lily
bad position
Tinos,
right now.
because of Lily Tinos and Dylan Mulvaney's and all these crazy
Oh, God, you had
dudes.
to fucking bring her up. My problem with fucking Dylan Mulvaney is the way that she started this days of girlhood thing. She wakes up one day and says, day 1 of being a girl, day 365. Look what I got. I got a pretty dress from Versace for being a girl.
I know.
Where the fuck was my dress on 365, bitch?
What was my dress?
Versace didn't come knocking at my door. Not the fucking Bud Light.
That's because Dylan isn't trans either. Dylan is a grifter who saw a grift and just went right into, oh, you watch. Dylan is gonna.
But I will give it to her. She has done a lot of surgery. She did her face.
Stupid.
I heard she's had bottom surgery. I don't know how true that is. But my understanding, she got Caitlyn Jenner's doctor. From my understanding.
Well, she has a lot of money. Dylan has a lot of money.
Fucking privileged.
Millions of dollars from the grift. Millions of dollars. So the sad thing is you can't do this as a grift because the grift will go away in 5 years when no one cares about Dylan anymore. And Dylan cut their penis off and is going to be like completely spinning out because they should have never done that.
I don't think Lily Tino's going to go through with bottom surgery, number one. And number two, the problem with somebody like you said, Lily Tino, is, JK Rowling came out and talked about them. And when you get big names like fucking JK, let's face it, she's transphobic. Let's face it. But that being said,
actually, I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay, I'm actually going to. Fair.
No. I am.
But that being said, she comes out and starts talking about Lily Tino. That just makes it look worse for us.
Well, let me just say this, okay? I've been in the fight for a long, long time. Years I've been doing this, okay? So let me tell you, JK is an actual friend. She actually supports me. She 100%. She writes me things all the time on only from X. We're not like hanging out in the bar. But that being said, she's always like, Buck, you're amazing. You will go down in history. All this will come back to you because I've always supported women's rights. And I always said she's not transphobic. I just want to set this straight here. You can think and be, I respect you a lot as a person. I appreciate but that being said, I want to let you know that all she said was, sex-based spaces matter for women. They do. And, they do 100%. And somebody like you, she would never have a problem with. She has problems with people like Lily Tino and dudes with beards and penises in the women's space. That's always been, she's like, transsexual people exist. She's totally cool.
She needs to say.
She did. She said it for years. I'll show you. I'll send you the tweet. I have it. I have the actual tweet. And that's when I said,
my mind, Buck.
I will tell you right now, she has full respect for you and I. What she doesn't have respect, because I have actual tons of tweets from her where she's like, you're awesome, Buck. Thank you, Buck. Right on kisses to me.
I'm trying to
all of it.
That space.
You will. Just keep being honest. And that's what I keep telling everybody. Be honest about shit. I am a female. I am not a man, okay? I want to be a man. You're male. I'm female. Good. We want to present as men and women. We're good. That's all she ever said.
And it doesn't matter what my ID says, even though it says F. My
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
I have male DNA. I was born as a
male. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
I can't change that.
So that's all that I'm trying to get people to understand. JK is our ally. She does not hate us. What she wants is boundaries. And when you're a woman, okay, you were not raised as a woman. I was, right? So remember that our socialization is a little different. I remember living as a woman and butch woman. It was horrifying. People punched me in the face. I got my ass kicked. All kinds of horrible shit happened to me as a butch woman. That being said, we need to understand those spaces. And all JK said was sex-based biology matters. And you're transphobic. And then it just went downhill. So now she's pissed. And I don't kind of blame her. She's pissed.
Some of the things she said, and I'm all about protecting women, obviously.
I know you are. Thank you.
Thank you. If somebody asked me to leave, I'd leave. I'm not going to try to make anybody uncomfortable.
Thank you.
But I mean, I've used locker rooms. I've used the bathroom.
Because you're respectful.
But I mind my business, and I'm not in
there.
That's
right.
First off, I don't have any male genitalia, number one, which...
Different.
Maybe you shouldn't be in the locker room if you have that. Maybe.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Maybe you should be in a bathroom somewhere or a neutral space. Because let's face it, that is going to confuse people.
Yes, that's
right. And it's going to put some women who have suffered from,
SA or totally
assault or whatnot. It's going to put them in a bad space, and make them scared. And I understand that. I do.
Thank you.
But
that's you being respectful towards women. If you want to be a woman, you're going to respect women. It's just real simple. It's real simple.
And I get it.
Yeah. And you also have bottom surgery and you're really trying to present as a woman. This is what we're trying to say. If you're not passing don't go in the woman's room, okay? And if you're not going to respect the woman's room, just don't put your ass in there, right? Like, what are you
Right.
talking about? So that's all she was trying to say was, come on, we can't have these bearded mustaches, wiener
No,
man
that I absolutely agree with that. I
around
absolutely agree with
children,
that. You're
around
right.
kids.
No,
Like,
you're right.
literally, dudes are pulling out their penis in front of kids. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
that can't happen.
I'm done.
That can't happen.
I'm totally done with all you.
The space has gotten out of control. With this. And like I said, now it's kind of it's a no holds barred type
It's
situation.
disgusting.
And and you know, I listened to Blair the other day. I was listening to something.
Yeah.
Blair was going off about Lily.
Yeah.
And I listened to what she had to say. And she had said, and actually I talked about this in my TikTok video too, that
Yeah.
you know, she said maybe the trans community needs to start gatekeeping again.
You
And
think?
maybe we do need to set some fucking rules saying, okay, look, if you're a woman, this is what a woman looks like.
Yes.
If you're a man,
Yes.
this is what a man looks like.
Yes.
And if you want to be non-binary, nobody fucking cares, but
yes.
don't call yourself trans and
That's right.
stay in a space where you're going to be respected.
We always did that, friend. We always respected. All my old school transsexual friends are disgusted by what's going on. Okay. You're like old school. You just remind me of an old school transsexual person. No, who has respect, wants to pass. You want to pass. You want to be a woman. You don't want to whip your penis out in front of. That's very male to whip your penis out. Like what?
Don't have one to whip out, Buck. So, you know.
Well, that's why you're transsexual. You're like, I got to get rid of this thing.
You know what? People ask me all because you know men have that. Cis men have that innate connection with that thing.
That's
you know
right.
I mean,
that's
they're
right.
Like,
totally.
Look, Rod, if you know, helicoptering around doing their thing, and I'm like, you know, yeah, right. For me, it felt like a skin tag, like it didn't belong there.
Well, of course,
foreign to me, you know,
the dysphoria.
Nobody would ever understand what I meant by it felt foreign. Like it literally felt like it didn't belong there. You know, and
well, yeah, that's your dysphoria. But I want to show you something. So I grew up with GI Joe, right? I always love to tell this little story here. So I had the GI Joe, which was I wanted to be GI Joe when I was a kid, right? La 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 la. So I remember one day I pulled GI Joe's pants down, and GI Joe doesn't have a penis. So I'm like, oh my god, that must have stuck in my head since I was like, oh, I could be GI Joe, and I don't need to get penis surgery.
Hey, there is a niche for that.
So I thought that's awesome, Matt. But you know, the surgery, man. The surgery for women to men. Sorry, I'm gonna just say it.
You know, I don't think there's enough. I don't think there's enough research
there isn't.
on that yet. And there is actually a guy. I read an article last year. There's a guy in Chicago who's actually trying to figure out how to connect a cadaver penis to a human. Right now. Yeah, there's a guy trying to figure it out. But if you think about it, Buck, you have everything you need. You have the nerves, you have the arteries.
Oh no, you might be able to do it. You might be able to do it.
I hope that I really do hope that one day.
So do I.
You know,
so, I mean, 100%. Some guys, they really need that. I got lucky to really work on not having that surgery 30 years ago. It was a whole different space. It's still not great. I'll be honest with you. I know a lot of guys who suffer from it, but it's easier to make.
A lot of guys have gotten it done, but I don't know why. It's easy to poke a hole and build a pole. Is that it?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it is. Right. It's much easier to do that and less problems.
I went the peritoneal pull option, which was great.
Oh, great.
And
great.
Whole 9 yards.
Amazing. It's really incredible. Yeah, good for you.
Amazing.
Good for you, friend. Yeah.
You know, and in November, I actually had a labiaplasty done because I wasn't happy with my labia majora. So I had a labiaplasty done. And my gynecologist did that, which was fucking great. I love her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Just incredible. Like your story is so important. And so we're going to wind down here. And Lexi, you're an amazing person. I put your TikTok thing there if you want to email me other ones to put in the description.
Well, I'm the same across all platforms.
Okay, great.
Lexi,
great.
Platforms.
Great. You're awesome. I really do enjoy your company. Let's just become friends and like maybe come on my show more often and we can just kind of do this and bring all of us together here. And like, you're just have a level, you have a level head. You're just normal. Like, oh my God, thank God more normal transsexuals are coming out.
You're getting harder and harder to find for whatever reason.
No, I think more and more you actually starting to peep your head up. You were like, I'm not touching that. But now you're like, no, I can't do this anymore.
I can't do it anymore. I gotta be honest with myself at these points. You know, I know
thank God
I put too much work into myself. I've struggled for too long to be who I am, and I'm tired of these people just coming along and saying,
"That's right,
I'm trans," and they're like, "Oh, I put on a dress and I'm trans." No, you didn't. Shut the fuck up. So.
I just love it. That's what we need. We just need you to be straight up like me. I'm like, no. The problem is like it's just a different space for me.
It's a
But
very different space.
yeah, I appreciate you a lot, friend. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks
for
everybody
having
for
me.
all the love. Thanks for being cool to Lexi. I do appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for liking, subscribing, getting this out there. And I'll have a new video out tomorrow. And I'll have Lexi back on the show. If you guys all tell me you want her back on, I'll bring her back on. Okay.
I'd love to come
so
back
thanks,
anytime.
Lexi. Thanks
Thanks, Buck.
so much. Yeah, right on.
Have a great day.
rest of your day, my friend. Yep.
Bye bye.